Welcome. How do you practice speaking? How do you practice speaking live English? Today, I decided to address this question. Our question: how do you practice speaking English? On my live shows, I get a lot of questions about practicing English. Hey, Ajay, how do I practice English in my country? I have no one to talk to. They tell me their country and say, how do I practice English? Many people seem stressed about this, even quite upset about it even. They feel like they have nobody to practice English with, and that's why they can't speak well. They have this strong belief that they must have someone to talk to every day or often, or their English will not improve. They believe they will never become fluent because they have no one to talk to. First, let me welcome everybody to my channel. So welcome, everybody. Lots of people saying hello. Hello to you. Lots of people from different countries, as always. I will talk about our topic first, then I will come to some of your questions and comments. So, YouTube watchers, questions and comments, please be patient. I'll be back to you soon. So let's go back to this thought. The first thing is, I think too many people focus on this question of talk to somebody, and that's not really what they need. What they mostly need is listening. It's the foundation. You probably need at least about 6 months of very intensive listening where you're focusing just on listening 2 or more hours per day, every single day, listening, getting a huge amount of listening first. This is the foundation, and most people never get this. In school, you don't get it. In school, there's a lot of reading typically. You may do some little exercises, little activities in class where you chat a little bit, but you usually get very little listening, surprisingly, in school classes. And that's the number one thing you're missing because your brain needs lots of that listening first before you really get comfortable with the language. And that's why you really should focus on that first. That's always going to be your foundation. Lots and lots and lots of listening. Here's the good news. You can listen from anywhere alone. You don't need an American to talk to you. You don't need a British person to talk to you. You don't need anyone to talk to. All you need is your little phone or MP3 player, iPod, whatever, some headphones or not, some speakers, your computer, whatever, and just play your audio every day. You can do that anywhere. You can do that while you're driving your car. You can do that while you're on a train or a bus. You can do that at home while you're cooking dinner. You can do that anywhere, at any time, in any country. That's great news. So, that's the main thing to focus on that will actually help your speaking a lot. A lot. You know, we have on my Twitter, it's a great example of this. We have Mehdi, for example, one of our superstar members. Now, he's in Iran. He doesn't have anybody to talk to, yet he has achieved a very high level of English. How did he do it? Mostly listening. That's the first big thing he'll tell you. Lots of repetition. He tells everybody this because people ask him questions all the time on Twitter, and this is his advice all the time. It's the same as my advice. Lots and lots and lots and lots of listening every day and repeating the same audio many times. Deep learning, repetition. This is going to help your speaking so much, and of course, it helps your listening too. And again, the great thing about it is you can do it all alone, anywhere in the world. No need to stress. Now, let's say you do this. You do the 6 months. Your listening improves a lot. Your speaking starts to improve even, but you're like, I want to practice speaking more. I want to work on my pronunciation. I want to become more fluent. What can you do? You have no one to talk to. You can talk to yourself. Mehdi does this, I know, because I've seen him mention it on Twitter, And many of our superstar members who've been very successful also do this, where they just practice alone in a room. They'll have, imaginary conversations. They'll give speeches just alone in a room. You could talk to a mirror if you want to, like giving a speech. That's just practicing talking. You can just talk and talk and talk and talk, like I'm doing right now, talking to the camera. Nobody's talking back to me. I'm just talking to the camera. I'm getting a huge amount of practice, right? Of course, I'm a native speaker. I don't need to practice English, but this helps me a lot with practicing public speaking because I do this so much. Talking to a camera for my podcast, or talking even just to a microphone for my audio podcast, because I do that almost every day. Public speaking is very easy for me now because I practice it constantly. It's the same thing for you. You can do this at home. Again, you could record yourself with a camera or with a microphone on your computer or your phone. You could listen to it if you wanted to, so you could hear your own mistakes or hear your own pronunciation, or you don't even have to record it. You can just talk. You just walk around your room speaking English. Talk about the weather. Talk about how you're feeling. Talk about what you did yesterday. Talk about what you want to do tomorrow. Just talk and talk and talk and talk every day just to yourself. This will give you a lot of practice. Again, you can do it alone, anywhere, any country, all by yourself. Another thing you can do. You can combine these two things, the listening and the speaking. Do this in several ways. This is what my pronunciation course does. So, in the pronunciation course, what you do is you listen to me and then you imitate me. So you get some listening, you're hearing me speak, and then you pause, and then later, you're not even pausing, but in the beginning, you pause and then you try to imitate me. So, you try to speak exactly like me, and in this way, you'll be practicing your pronunciation. This also helps your fluency though. It also helps the easiness of speaking, so the words come out faster and more easily. You can do this with any audio, and then there's the shadowing technique I described, or tracking as I call it, which is where you're listening and speaking, listening and speaking, listening and speaking with no pausing at all. You're doing it at the same time, which is a little difficult in the beginning, but eventually you can do it. And again, you can do this all alone by yourself, anywhere, at any time. And many of our members in many different countries have only done these things and become fluent, excellent speakers all by themselves, all alone, without a friend who speaks English, without any conversation websites, without anything, only themselves. And then finally, they test themselves. Maybe they travel, maybe they have a chat with somebody online, and they do very well. So, you can train and practice speaking all by yourself using all of these different methods, starting with intensive, repetitive listening. That's the foundation. Do that for at least 6 months. Longer is great. You never really stop doing that, but you can focus on only doing that for about 6 months. And then, after that, you're ready to speak. You can do all these other activities that I just suggested alone and combine all these things. If you do all these things a couple of hours a day, your speaking is going to improve a lot, and you have no need to get stressed out about, I can't find someone to speak to. Okay, just relax. Just relax. You're going to be fine. You'll be fine. You can do it yourself, wherever you are right now in the world. All right, let's go to the comments and questions now. So, lots of people say hello from lots of different countries. So, hello and hola, which is hello in Spanish. And then we've got lots of people just suggesting all the different things you can listen to. You know, audiobooks, songs, movies, game shows, TV, podcasts, on and on and on. It's endless. There's so much. Now you're so lucky because number one, you have the internet, okay? And number two, English has the most on the internet. So for English, there's so much English listening. All right, this is a nice quote. This is from Dolores, who says, "The best way to learn a language is to live it." Yes, excellent quote. Right, this is what we're trying to do. Don't only study it, she says, live it. Try to surround yourself with English in every way. That's the idea. This is the idea. So, maybe even just your home, you try to make it more English. You know, you're listening to audio, you're watching movies, you're reading books, you're listening to my podcast or other podcasts, whatever, all in English. You try to just make your daily life a little more English. This is the way to do it, not just study it. Live it, as Dolores says. All right, this is another question. We got this question a couple of times now, which is people wanting to have friends, which is fine. That's great. I think it's okay to have friends. That's a good thing. And it is great to have people to chat with, to practice with. It can help you feel more relaxed when you're doing speaking. You're a little less nervous maybe, and you're going to have more fun, so that's fine. You know, you can try Italki, a website where you can find people to chat with. You can try joining other communities online where people are chatting with each other all the time, but this is not really the most important thing. This is more for fun and enjoyment. It's not the most important. The most important is listening and then practicing alone, okay? So keep that in mind. You know, this is not the key, but it can be nice. All right, we have this comment from Kavita who says, "I just finished my MBA and I'm looking for a job where communication skills are very important." Yes, English is usually number one. That's true. You know, it's true for most jobs, really. I have good communication skills, but sometimes I'm afraid I'll make a mistake when I speak. Yeah, that's normal. That's a normal feeling. And, you know, it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay. I make mistakes all the time. Everybody makes mistakes. It's normal. Don't worry about it. You know, if you're going to get a job, they don't expect you to be perfect. They know you're not a native speaker, so it's okay. Just do your best, you know? The main thing is to be clear. You know, try to speak clearly. Try to speak confidently. That's more important than being perfect, okay? So don't stress out about that too much. Just practice a lot and you'll get more confidence and you'll get better and better. All right, this is a good question from Fatima from Pakistan who says, "I practice speaking with my boyfriend who's native and I understand him very well, but when I talk to other people, it's difficult. Why?" That's a common situation, actually. It's a very common situation. The reason is because probably your boyfriend is speaking to you in a more relaxed way, a more informal way. You know, maybe he's using a lot of slang, or he's talking very quickly, or he's just using a lot of expressions and vocabulary that he knows that you understand, right? But when you talk to other people, especially native speakers, they might not know what you understand, so they might speak more quickly. They might use a lot of expressions or idioms or slang that you don't understand, or maybe they have an accent that's more difficult for you to understand. So that's the main reason. You know, it's like if I learn a new language, I can talk to my teacher, and my teacher's very clear, and I understand my teacher very well. But then when I talk to a person in the street, I can't understand them at all because they're speaking more quickly, more naturally, with a lot of slang, a lot of expressions, and I'm like, whoa, what's happening? So that's the main reason. Don't worry about it. It's normal, and it just means you need more practice with more different people, okay? So keep going. You're doing fine. You're doing well. All right. That's our show for today. So lots of great questions, lots of great comments. So I'm going to try to answer more of your questions next time. And of course, thank you all for being here. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please like it. That's good for me. If you didn't like it, okay, no problem. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please subscribe to my channel. That's how you get all the updates. And I will see you next time. I'll see you next time. Goodbye. Goodbye.